We're going to build 1.5 million new homes.
There is some greenbelt land that can be developed on.
What I say won't be without controversy. Local authorities will have to review their greenbelt if needed to meet housing targets.
If it wasn't for the greenbelt, London had grown as it has, we would have a metropolis going from Brighton to Cambridge.
There's no social housing as part of the proposals. The affordable housing delivery is a little bit unknown.
I just think it's a tragedy that we could lose all these green fields, and it's often the reason why people live here, right? Because they want some green space. And yet we're not using spaces like this instead.
I'm Al Dorr, I'm from the Billericay Action Group. We're fighting to protect the greenbelt around Billericay and the rest of our borough as well from development which we see as unnecessary, which brings harms without delivering great benefits, such as affordability. 3 years ago, a developer put in an application to build here on greenbelt land that hasn't started building yet, but the archaeological survey's happening and the building will follow soon after. Greenbelt can only be developed outside of a planning process in what's called very special circumstances. Increasingly, if you haven't got a local plan in place or if you haven't met your 5-year housing supply targets, which are set by central government and which are stratospherically high, then that can count as very special circumstances. So in effect, has the greenbelt been de facto abolished? The threshold's very low now. We're going to some fields in South Billericay, where there's a large planning application gone in for 250 houses, and that'll be probably just the first phase. This is a sign we've put up so people know about it and find out all they need to know to do their bit to hopefully stop it. It's corny, but I feel it's my duty to do my best and to try and get the best outcome for the community really and for nature as well. I mean that's an ancient woodland there, it's been there since the Ice Age. It's irreplaceable, you know, you can't have development right up against it, the effect on the biodiversity would be marked.
I'm Mark, I'm a local resident. I've lived in Epsom for 15 years. This is the very last bit left here. You know, the very last little bit left just between Epsom and Ewell. There's lots of spare land in the town which could be built on, and then we don't lose the green fields. But instead at the moment, the councillors, for whatever reason, and most people just don't understand why, they've said that this land could be built on by developers.
And where land in the greenbelt is developed, new golden rules will require provision of 50% affordable housing with a focus on social rent.
The definition of affordable home is just one which is priced at 20% below the market rate. What we're saying as a Greenbelt group here is like, don't get conned by this affordable stuff because they're not really going to be affordable. We do believe in this area we can build thousands and thousands of homes, 3,000–4,000 on brownfield sites and also on what they call grey belt sites. That's sites already developed in the green belt. So we're just at West Park Hospital here. We're in the green belt still, but as you can see, this is already developed land, and this is all available for building on. You've got disused land, it's already concreted. What is currently planned by the council is to build on both the greenfields and some of these places, but we don't feel they're using spaces like this intensively enough. Keir Starmer and the Labour government, they talked a lot in the election campaign about a grey belt. Well, this is a classic example of the grey belt. It's a disused car park in the green belt.
My name's G, I'm part of Save North St Albans Greenbelt. The local plan in St Albans is looking to deliver the same amount of housing as another Harpenden. So we're looking at 16,000 houses. So that's a huge ask from a relatively small district. What you can see behind me is all at risk. The plans for the fields are nearly 1,200 properties. There's no social housing as part of the proposals. The affordable housing delivery is a little bit unknown. Developers agree to a number at the start, and then for affordability reasons, they then end up not delivering those numbers. This land performs a real purpose, not just for Greenbelt, but for climate management and flood management. And for us as a campaign group, we're having to fight that continually, that the evidence base doesn't exist to allow for this land to be at the top of the list for release for development. If anything, it's at the bottom of the list. It should be local authorities are pushed more heavily to look at brownfield.
Of course, we need to build lots more homes, and we will. But we should be building upwards in our cities rather than outwards.
And we would take a brownfield first approach.
The first port of call must be brownfield land, but it's only part of the answer, Mr. Speaker. This is why we must create more strategic system for Greenbelt release.
The brownfield first policy has no teeth. Successive governments, including this one, have failed to put in enough of a framework and enough of a motivation and the tax breaks and all those things that you need to guide development to where you need it most, from both a green belt protection point of view but also a climate protection point of view. So here we've got an example of a really good brownfield development. It was an educational facility that was underused, and some of the land has been repurposed to this social housing, which is great, and we need more of that and more action to deliver that quickly.
Often it's like, do I enjoy the land or do I mourn it? You know, when you're enjoying it, when you're using it, you're thinking, well, this won't be here in 3 years maybe, you know.
We want our kids to grow up in a place where there's green fields and there's nature around, because once it's gone, it's never coming back.